Alright, the Treasury Financial Manual, Volume 1, Part 2, Chapter 45, Grants, Loan Credits, Contingent Liabilities involving foreigners. This chapter prescribes the forms of the procedure against agencies to prepare for the submission of the Department of the Treasury for the related U.S. government grants, loan credits for the contingent liability for the loan credits for the other payment schedule and agreements for the involved foreigners. Section 4510, Scope of the Applicability of the Secretary of the Treasury Corps of the Information Agency to provide fulfilling report responsible for the Congress and the revision of the reported information provides data for the annual U.S. government foreign credit exposure report for submission of the OECD CRS's Assistant Office Management Budget within preparing budget estimate. The provision chapter apply with the department agency for the executive branch of the U.S. government, with including government corporations, subject to the Government Corporation Act, that since foreign grants authorized government have the understanding, loaning, other transaction creating foreign indebtedness to the U.S. government, with the contingent liability for the under agreement to pertain the loan and credits for the other payment schedule agreements for the involved with the foreign treasury record for the agency, the legislative, judicial branch of the government also submit the reports to the Treasury financial reports, which include such transactions counting federal government agencies are exempt from the reporting provisions of applicant grants for the total foreign grant activities less than 100% for a actual year. Section 4515 authorities, Section 111.4 of the Budget Accounting Procedure Act of 1950, they require the Secretary of the Treasury for the prepare reports and to inform of the progress for the Congress, for the public of the financial operation of the U.S. government, for the provide the executive agency with the must furnish for the Secretary of the Treasury with information relating to the agency financial condition and operations. The Secretary may record the following congressional reports to launch for the foreign credit reports of the annual Treasury, the publication of the government foreign credit exposure for the House of the Committee report for the foreign operation, a bill for the 1992 for the conference report for the 101 344 debated November 11th, 1989. Data were collected that provided information organization, economic cooperation, development of the core editor's reporting system, the annual, semi-annual core reporting requirements. Section 4520 with the terms of the definition, claim, and assertion of the right of payment. The lender may fail for the claim. They assert the right of the portion on balance due for the default of the loan, guarantee for the insurer of the government for the remaining portion of the guarantee not already recovered by the lender. Credited any amount whether there exists the specific obligation of the repayment. They include for the loan and other transfers agreements to remove the right of the specific obligation to repay over a period of time. Usually, injury that may include for the grants, but only with the reference to tied aid credits for the defined with the Office of Organizational Economic Cooperation Development Official Support. Export credits. Creditor lender, one who provides the money resource for whom pay is including U.S. government, federal agency, private financial institution of the specific credit agreement. Debt refers to the amount of the money property determined to be U.S. of the government from any of the person, organization, and the other federal agency that includes the amount of the owned directive of the guaranteed loan with all the other amounts of due of the U.S. forms of fees, duties, leases, rent, royalties, service, sales, goods of services, overpayments, fines, penalties, damages, interest, tax, forfeitures, and other sources. Default and debt service failure to maintain any obligation term of the credit grant with agreement of the contract of the payment that if the overdue for the appear for the technically and default since for the virtue of the non-payment the borrower has failed to buy within the term of the condition of the credit in particular terms. When a guaranteed loan or credit is in default with the varies by agency, the disbursement curve of the creditor play for the resource of the funds and funds of the disposal of the borrower for the cash of the payment creation of the line with the credit borrower withdrawal of the payment. The term utilized may be to use for the credit extend with as other currencies other than currencies. Insurance is a liability binding agreement that insures the export of the investor for the lenders again for the specific risk for the during specified or export, import, banking, insurance coverage, the commercial, political risk of the non-payment of the export obligations oversee for the private investment corporation insurance with the coverage transfer the political risk associated with the foreign investment. Maturity date with the date of the debt with the procedure paid with the full with the official private the obligator for the agency must classify obligator for the official private according to the following principle. Official obligator for the guarantees are for the central government for their departments of the ministries. Political subdivisions such as state, province, departments of municipality, foreign central bank, the autonomous institutions of the corporation, the development bank, the railways, utilities, where one budget institution subject to the approval of the government of the recipient country for the government owes more than 50% of the voting stock for more than half of the members of the board of the directors are governmental representatives, and 3 in case of the default of the government central bank would become liable to debt of the institution, any of the official multinational organization. Private obligors are borrowed with the guarantors as defined with the obligors only, and an official with the prior outstanding of the amount with the deserve of the time repaying aid included with the principal amount with his arrears. Repayment of the agreement to be borrowed with the lender established with the terms of the condition governing the recovery of the debt, reporting date with the debt of the agency report for historical debt, serve the debt of the test information scale of the debt, serve the date. Reschedule the officer of the economic credit and demand of the Cooperation and Development Office of where was it? Office of Organization Economic Cooperation and Development. Reporting date of the agency, Mr. Oracle, that serve the data of the interest, cover the data, serve the Office, Organizational Economic Control and Development, the determination, extinguish the debt owned by the owner, all part of the existing credit for the creation of the new with separate credits of the credits normally aggregate with the area of the volume equal to the amount of the total debt being with the extinguished rescheduling that normally is done with the connection with the facilitating payment, although it is not required. Multiple rescheduling occurs when the debt is over under all of the parts of the owning existing credit with the single the rescheduling action with the not single of the new credit result of the Paris Club with the return of the debt reorganization, new schedule of the debt, service payments failing to do specific interview with the consolidated result of the new credit with the new payment schedule, the reporting agency remind with the NAC with the action 82-28-5 with the regarding procedure of the reporting foreign debt. Signature of the date of the date of the loan with the guarantee reinsurance of the agreement that specifies the amount of financial of the term of the condition for the purpose of the transaction was signed otherwise made known with the recipient. Sovereign refers to the obligation entered by the state of the Medicare with the full faith credit with the central government with included with the transaction guaranteed central bank treasury ministry fine of the country on country based for the other institution has been designed by law or customs over an institution acting on behalf of the state. Write-off occurs when authorized official determines that the debt will not be repaid. Statutory, the other may be required to write off the debts of the own foreign government, so foreign reduction. For the other terms, definition related to the chapter, please for the Treasury Financial Management Glossary. Section 4525 Quarterly Reports. Agencies submit the data of the Viva the Internet quarterly using the following of the reports: direct long credit history, guarantees insured long-term credit history with the director long-term credit status, guarantees insured the long-term credit status of the aggregated data of the direct short-term credit, guarantee for the insurance of the short-term credited system, direct long-term credit schedule with the payments of the guaranteed insurance of the long-term credit scheduled payments. Submit the quarterly reports using formats instructed to provide in appendix 1 as well with the DS, the direct statements, DSGSAS format, the direct insurance contract and guarantees, D and GP format scheduled payment of the new contract committed during the previous quarter or any achievement of the existing payment schedule with D and H, the general formats and transaction occurring during the respective calendar quarter. A applicable quarter will determine the reporting date of the foreign credit reporting system will calculate with the calendar year, historical date of the the quarterly reports. Update of the quarterly reports as prescribed in the formats of the FSCR file of the file upload module, the uploading agency file. Screen of the quarterly report of the due date with the due date of the 45 days after the quarter of the reporting day if the due date fall within the U.S. national holiday weekend. The next business day with the due date of the data will be loaded into the FCR file with the 3 work days for the request for the move of the uploaded file with the staging application. Agencies must complete with the quarterly data editing with approval of profit the FCRS 5, FCRS 2 weeks after receiving the notification reporting period of data available to editing via the notification of the FCRS file, upload modification batch basic batch statistics creating agency personnel should file with the instruction of the foreign credit reporting system with the website with the overview of the data editing guide with the agency. If the agency may request additional time beyond 2 weeks if needed. 45-25-10 with the submitting previously unreported information. Agency that is not reported along with the guarantee of the insurance of the contract previously short submitted with the information from the current quarter of the indicated in section 45-25 with in addition with the staff of the DS and the GS for the history of the DH and GH reporting of the previous should be reported separately with the contact of the federal credit foreign credit reporting system with the data and administrative for the contact paid for their instruction. Section 45-30, entering data. Provide with the data the ASC2 character of the right with justified integers of the all field with except for the date of the interest rate of the calendar year of the country for the name of the borough with the percentage program whose AG, the delegation number, the treasury transaction number, the agency that unable to do with the ASC2 formatted file with may substitute with the common separated file with the prominent format of the field with links and so with the optimate case computers common separated values format character positions unnecessary. However, the field the link with its critical field must be separated by the common string value that must be included with the double quotes. For example, the my value, the agency must use the specified format to support the system that allow for the timely completion for the agency with the editing. Complete the report edition must verify the ASC2 the data for the correctly positioned. Complete using an editor. The agency must retain the underlying raw data to be prepared to make the data available to the OFM of the management treasury if requested. Part 4530, amount with a report amount with the cash base with the rev with the accrual base with the coin for the nature of the item per the following convention with the use the unsigned pot with the integer without comma separate with the decimal point with no symbol with an amount with a field with the negative with the using the leading minus sign. Not use the currency symbol, for example, the number S dollar symbol and round with the amount of the nearest whole US dollar or dollar equivalent dates. And with the dates numerically in century year with the month of the date is sequence, for example, 2002 0331 March 31st 2002. Match 4530 interest rate with the interest rate for the rate with the numbers 2 inches for the period with the 3 decimal. For example, 6.5% is 6.500. 4530 calendar year. Agency no longer needs to enter for the calendar year. The information is calculated with the reporting date with the, on the DH and GH file with the 4530 country code. The appropriate 2 or 3 character country code taken with the list with the appendix 2 with the information, all the other baseline with the information except for the initially changed that only with the tab with the report with the DS and GS. The code with the base on federal information profit. The scan of the publication country depends for the agency for the special sovereignty for the principal administrative of the divisions amended with the FIBS publication 10-4 change of the tone for the Department of State with the office of the geographer against bulletin with the information from the office of the geographer with the certain the codes have been added to alleviate unusual reporting problems. The state.gov, the W regions, independent states, wstate.gov, the WW regions, depends for the HTML, state.gov countries. 4535, borrower name, the report of the borrower name entirety of its possible, however, because of the space limitations, standard abbreviations, communications are acceptable. 4530, 40 with the report percentage, real number to the nearest tenth of the percent, include the decimal point with a separate decimal value, with, for example, the 95.5% with the 95.5 with the report, 80% with the 088.80. 4530, 45 program codes. Use the appropriate program code. The list of the program name of the code and appendix 3 with the information except that initially changed only from the staff of the reports of the DS and GF, the agent for the identified number, poor agent, the identification number of the agency assigned with the loan guarantee with the insurance agreement of the agent for the must use the number consistently in the future report the information critical machine matching with the history of the DH and GH of the scheduled payments for the DP, GP records, applicable staff of the DS and GS, the report in order to create with the complete with the contract with the treasury transaction number. Treasury transaction number, the removal of the treasury transaction number, the agency assignment identified with the loan and guarantee with the insurance agreement with the organization and economic control with the disbursement of the CRS purpose of the treasury transaction number, the continued with the 2-digit numerical commitment year identified with the subsequent 4-digit number American identifier 2-character alphanumeric extension if neither verified leading zeros appear with the treasury transaction number, the credits committed with the calendar year 2000 beyond, with, for example, the 021 2, 3, 4 indicates commitment with the calendar year 2002. The leading years for the required of the field of the agencies must maintain with the treasury transaction number they recorded in September to December 31st, 1994. As long as there is any activity to relieve with a particular loan with the guarantee of the insurance agreement that include with the claims outstanding, the agencies reporting official supported exported credit of the transaction directly of the organization economic export control and the disbursement burn union of the Form 1C with the first digit of the transaction number of the month with coincide with the CRS identification number. The agents must be assigned with the treasury transaction number to consistently future reports as long as they actively relate with a particular loan with the guarantee and term of the agreement include with the claims outstanding with the information accepted initially only with the staff of the reported DS and HS, GS and GS, DS and GS. Section 45 and 35 of the Federal Credit Foreign Credit Reporting System. Federal Foreign Credit Reporting System runs additive with an individual record under the following reasonable assumptions each for the staff of the record. Cumulative of the amount of the principal committed of the equal sum of the cumulative of the amount of the principal canceled dispersed to any of the directly credited guaranteed loan. Cumulative amounts principal dispersed should equal the sum of the cumulative of the amount of the principal outstanding with the repaid rescheduled reduced any of the direct credit of the guaranteed loan with the amount appeared for the outstanding 1 day more should be greater than equal to the amount of the arrears outstanding 90 days or more principal the area with 1 day or more should not exceed principal outstanding any of the direct credit. For any direct credit with a guaranteed loan, with the sum of the historical amount of the given category should not exceed the cumulative of the amount of the category among the staff of the record of the historic amount of the given category during the preceding quarter shall not exceed 10% of the difference between cumulative of the amount of the category of the staff record of the current and preceding quarter of the sum of the schedule of the principal. The repayment of the projection records shall not exceed the sum of the principal undispersed plus principal outstanding minus principal in areas of 1 day or more. The direct credits for the staff of the record. Some scheduled principal repayment of the projection record should not be less than the amount principal outstanding with a minimum principal in periods in 1 day of direct credits in the staff's record. If there are valid reasons for not only above the test specific record, provide detailed explanation for these reasons separated with the correspondent. Do not omit any relevant credit guarantee for the insurance contracts. If the agency has reported contracts, it must close out the contracts before remove the inventory active of the records of the agency. Or Section 4540 file names, composite file names, give the agency the identifier 2-digit type code with the informative 4-digit reporting date with the title extension for example, the export-import bank would name the direct credit history of the file with the December 31st, 2002 with the EDHO 212 tax. Alright, your contacts, direct inquiry, concern with the chapter of the Office of International Debt Policy with the Office of International Affairs with the Department of Treasury, 1500 Business Avenue, Northwest Washington, D.C. 20220, telephone number 202-622-7825. And that was Chapter 4500, Granted Loan Credits and Contingent Liabilities Involving Foreigners.